Hey everyone, today I'm going to be reviewing my new MOC Vertex. He took me about an hour, maybe, at the longest. He really didn't take me that long to build because he's only like 70 pieces. I like his design, although he is very odd because he's not my typical style of build. As you can see, his arms are very long and skinny and just use a ratchet joint to connect them rather than more of a ball joint like his upper arm. I use a Rakshi shoulder pad, or I guess just the width of the Rakshi shoulder, that big piece. I believe it only came with the Rakshi themselves, and it's a pretty good, solid, big piece. I wanted to use it for my own MOCs, so I just broke most of the Rakshi I have up, just so I could have a lot of their useful pieces. I really like how I used it in this build. I like the gear piece back here, it just gives some extra detail, and it looks pretty good. It integrated very nicely, it was easy to connect, and it's pretty sturdy. The arms are very interesting. I wanted to go for something a little more out there that I don't usually go for. He kind of is just supposed to look like a skinny, kind of like an assassin droid. He looks pretty good, I would say, for how many pieces he uses. He's really a small build, but I think the pieces that he does have, he uses pretty effectively. I like his gun arm. It's very simple. I believe I've taken a few pieces off of it, though, so it kind of looks a little bit weird. I took a few pieces off to build probably the coolest guy I've ever built, which I will be reviewing later this week. I really do like this guy, but since I haven't built MOCs in a while, and now I got back to it, he's kind of a lame guy to be my first MOC back into the game. It's probably been like 2 or 3 weeks since I've posted a review video on a guy that I've built, which I usually try to make a guy every week, but I'm very low on parts right now, so I probably need to get a few more Bionicles. Either that or just break a lot of guys that I don't really use anymore. I usually keep a lot of my guys up just so I can use them for stop motion, but I don't think I'll use him for any stop motions. Because he uses this ratchet joint, I animate at 12 frames per second, so just one click is a little bit too rapid for 12 frames a second. Well, I use 12 to 15 frames per second, so if I'm using 15, this is definitely too rapid of a movement, and it's very limited because he doesn't have any side to the side on the elbow, which usually most of my MOCs have a little bit of side to side movement from their elbow, but he can barely even touch his other arm. He might not even be able to. Well, he slightly can, and he doesn't really have that good of movement for his arms, and I kind of need a little bit more movement than this in his arms if I was going to use him for stop motion. And that's another kind of bad thing. This ratchet joint is kind of loose. This forearm pops out a little bit. His legs are very, very straightforward. Just a few pieces. He's a very light build, lighter than my typical. I really like his chest plate. I guess you could say this big cylinder piece. It's really cool, and it's more of a circle. It's not really a cylinder. But I've always used this piece to make miniguns, which usually look good. I like this piece a lot, and I've started to use it for more mechanical MOCs that I build, and it works pretty effectively here. He has some little pieces of, like, exhaust, I guess you'd say. There might be some steam that shoots out of that. And you'll see this ball joint right down here. That was for something that I was originally going to keep with the MOC, but I decided to take it out. And I'm going to have to take a few pieces off to show you what that was originally for. So I just took these 2 pieces right off the torso, which they connect into this 3-long piece. But originally, I had to add these in because I wanted to take out what I put in. So originally, I wanted to make him wear his waist swiveled, but it comes off very easily because it's just a ball joint in there. But it works very well. I put this piece right here so he couldn't move his torso like forward or backwards. He could just rotate, which I like the rotation movement. It really adds a lot to him, but I decided I didn't really want that just because it comes out a little too easily, which I'm thinking about just taking these pieces off because I do like the rotation, and he would be very, very good for stop motion if he could rotate his waist, which I'm thinking about taking these off just so I can use them for stop motion. I might lower the frame rate so his arms also don't look too jerky when they're moving. And I do like the rotation in the waist, but also I like the extra detail that these pieces add. But that's why that ball joint was right there. It was just originally so his waist could turn, which that is a good function, and I might add it into some other mocks later on. You might be wondering, since I haven't posted a mock review in a while, why would I come back and review this mock? Because he's not very cool, and I do have the coolest mock that I've ever built already made. And so you might be wondering, why didn't you come back with that guy? It's because I didn't want to review that guy since he's super cool, and then like the next week I'd post a review of this guy, because he's probably about like 10 times less cool, and he probably has about 300 less pieces. But I just want to post this guy's review before I post my coolest mock ever, because I don't want to let anybody down by posting a video of a super cool mock then releasing this guy, which is kind of lame. Here's just a quick size comparison. Demise on the far left is obviously the biggest mock that I have up right now. I believe he's probably the third, maybe the fourth biggest guy that I've ever built, which is kind of sad because he's only like 12 inches tall. And I really have wanted to make just a super big mock, but I haven't really got around to it. Because I like having a lot of mocks up rather than just one or two really big ones. Vertex is actually taller than most of the mocks I have up. He's a little above average in height, but he's way below average in piece count because he has maybe 70 pieces. Both of them have way more pieces than Vertex does. This guy, I can't really remember his name. He does use a lot of thick, bulky pieces that make him appear that he has a few more pieces than he actually does, but I can guarantee you that he has more pieces than Vertex. Overall, I like him. He looks pretty good. He's not my favorite mock, and he is a very different build than my regular builds, and I don't think I'm ever really going to build another guy like him. I hope to be back to building way bigger and cooler mocks than him. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe.